A pleasant day to all of you. I am Kristen Shane Migullas, and I am going to tackle about the pulmonary, systemic, and the coronary circulations. This is the diagram that I drew of the anterior view of the heart, or also known as the frontal section of the heart. So we can observe that there are a lot of colors going around my diagram for us to easily identify which part I am referring to. We also have numbers and arrows for us to be easily guided throughout our discussion. So first, we are going to tackle about the pulmonary circulation, which starts in the first number, which is the right atrium. So the right atrium is filled with the oxygenated blood, also known as the dirty blood. The blood passes in an atrioventricular valve, which is specifically known as the tricuspid valve. So an atrioventricular valve is a valve in between an atrium and a ventricle. After passing into the tricuspid valve, the blood arrives in its second location, which is the right ventricle. The blood then goes into a semilunar valve, which is specifically known as the pulmonary valve. So a semilunar valve is a valve in between a ventricle and a great artery, which is the pulmonary artery, which is the third location of the blood. So this is also called as the pulmonary trunk. The fourth location is when the blood goes into two different directions, which is in the left pulmonary artery and then the right pulmonary artery. So every side has two branches, which is connected to our lung for the oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange. After the carbon dioxide and oxygen exchange in the lungs, the blood comes back into the heart through our fifth location, which is the pulmonary veins. So each lung is connected to a pulmonary vein and a pulmonary artery. So the blood goes into the pulmonary vein and arrives in our sixth location, which is the left atrium, which is the end of our pulmonary circulation. So now we are going to tackle about the systemic circulation. So the first location is our sixth location, which is the left atrium. So the left atrium is now filled with oxygenated blood, since the blood comes from the lungs where the gas exchange occurs. It is now filled with oxygen, that's why it is now an oxygenated blood. So the blood goes into an atrioventricular valve, also known as the bicuspid valve, and it arrives in its seventh location, which is the left ventricle. The blood then passes into a semilunar valve, also known as the aortic semilunar valve, which makes it arrives to the eighth location, which is the aorta. The aorta then distributes the blood into different arteries for the blood to be delivered all throughout the body. The exchange of the nutrients and oxygen in the different parts of the body occurs in the smallest blood vessel, which is the capillaries. Now the oxygenated blood, or the dirty blood, is now passed onto the veins, where the blood travels into the inferior vena cava and superior vena cava for it to arrive in the right atrium. And then the pulmonary circulation now begins again. So now we are going to tackle about the coronary circulation. So the coronary circulation is a part of the systemic circulation. So as you can see our diagram, there is no specific process of the coronary circulation, but we can still use this diagram as a guide on locating or the locations of the coronary circulation. So as I said, it is a part of the systemic circulation. So as I discussed earlier, the aorta gives the blood to the other branches of the other types of arteries, and this includes the coronary artery, which is responsible for the blood supply of the heart. So we have two great coronary arteries, which is the right coronary artery and the left coronary artery. So these two great coronary arteries has branches. So first we're going to discuss the right coronary artery. So the right coronary artery is here. The right coronary artery originates on the right side of the heart, which extends into the coronary sulcus to the posterior part of the heart or the back part of the heart, where it is connected to the posterior interventricular artery, which lies into the posterior interventricular sulcus. And then another branch of the right coronary artery is the right marginal artery, which extends from the right coronary artery into the lateral wall of the right side of the heart there. So this right coronary artery and its branches is responsible for the blood supply of the most wall of the right side of the heart. So next is the left coronary artery, which has three branches. So the first branch is the anterior interventricular artery, which lies on the anterior interventricular sulcus, which is in front of the heart. And then we also have the circumflex artery, which extends on from the coronary sulcus to the posterior part of the heart or the back part of the heart. And then we also have the left marginal artery, which is the same with the right marginal artery, because from the circumflex that is going to the posterior part of the heart, it is connected, which extends to the lateral wall of the left side of the heart. So these arteries are responsible for the blood supply of the cardiac muscles, and then these cardiac muscles drains the blood into the cardiac veins. So these cardiac veins, which has parallel pathways of the coronary arteries. So if you can find the artery here, you can still find the veins here, which because they have parallel pathways. And these cardiac veins, most of them drains the blood into the coronary sinus, which is a large vein, and then it sends it to the right atrium again for the start of the pulmonary circulation. So these blood are deoxygenated. But some cardiac veins directly send the blood that they are carrying into the right atrium. And that ends the coronary circulation, where the pulmonary circulation starts again. Thank you for listening.